Hey, welcome back to Michael Tells. Before we start, I've got to be honest with you. The channel's been struggling a little lately, and stuff like this only keeps going if people actually show up for it. So if you've got a second, drop a like, leave any comment at all. Even one word helps more than you'd think. All right, that's all I'll ask. Now sit back, because you're going to want to hear this one.
Hey, hi. Okay, so my name's David Mercer. I'm 27. I live in Hamilton, Ontario, so Canada. And I'm a normal guy, honestly. I'm an apprentice electrician. I pull wire. I drink too much coffee. I drive a truck that makes a noise I keep telling myself I'll fix. That's the whole picture. Nothing special. And I've never really told this to anybody. Not the whole thing. I've told friends little pieces of it, the funny parts, the parts you can laugh at over a beer, but never the whole shape of it. Because the whole shape of it kind of sits weird in my chest, even now. So, yeah, I'm just gonna tell it. So here's the thing about me you gotta understand first. I love going out. Like, love it. Since I was maybe 19, 20, the club, the bar, Friday nights, that's my thing. And people hear that and they picture, I don't know, some meathead who's out trying to get with someone every weekend. And that's honestly not it. I mean, I'm not a saint, but that's not the pull for me. The pull is it's the newness. You walk into a room full of strangers, and every single one of them is a story you don't know yet. New faces, new people. Somebody's laughing about something across the bar, and you don't know why. And for a second, you kind of want to. I like that. I've always liked that. There's this feeling right when you walk in, the bass coming up through the floor, and it's like anything could happen tonight. Anything. And most nights, nothing does. You just dance and drink and go home. But the maybe is the whole point. My mom used to say I was born nosy. And she wasn't wrong. I was the kid who wanted to know everybody's business. Not in a mean way, I just found people interesting. Still do. Okay, so to tell you this properly, I gotta go back. Way back. High school. When I was in grade 10, I had this English teacher, Ms. Cormier, Melanie Cormier. Although, obviously, I never called her Melanie. Are you kidding? She was Ms. Cormier, full stop. The way teachers are just a title and a last name and nothing underneath when you're 15. You don't think of them as people. You really don't. And Ms. Cormier? Okay, so she was strict. Not mean strict, sharp strict. She had this way of going completely quiet when the class got loud. Just stopped talking and looked at us. And somehow that was scarier than yelling. Everybody shut up. She always looked put together. That's the word. Blazers, hair done, the whole thing. Like she had her life sorted in a way that made you feel a little sloppy just standing near her. She'd circle your spelling mistakes in this red pen and write, "We can do better" in the margin. And God, I hated that. We can do better. Like she was in it with you. Which, looking back, I think she meant it kind. I didn't get that at 15. She taught me for 1 year. That's it. 1 year, grade 10 English. And then I went off to grade 11 and different teachers, and I basically never thought about her again. Why would I? That's how it works. Teachers are like train stations. You pass through and you keep going and you don't think about the station once you're down the line. So, fast forward 11, 12 years. I'm 26 when this happens. Just turned 27 not long after, so call it a year ago. It's a Saturday. Me and two of my buddies, Reese and this guy Tyler, we decided to make a real night of it. So we drove into Toronto instead of doing the usual Hamilton spots. Bigger clubs, right? Feels like an event. We got there, we got a couple drinks in early, everybody's in a good mood, the place is packed, good night. Just a good, normal, loud night. And I'm standing kind of near the edge of the dance floor, drink in my hand, doing my thing where I just watch the room for a minute. And there's this woman out there dancing. And I clock her right away, but not for the reason you'd think. She's, okay, she's older than most of the crowd. Not old, just older than the 20 somethings packed in there, maybe mid 40s. And she is having the time of her life. Arms up, eyes closed, completely gone in the music, kind of stumbling but not caring, laughing at nothing. And she's pretty drunk, you can tell. That loose, floaty drunk where the whole world's gone soft and warm for you. And normally I just smile and look away. Good for her, live your life. But something snagged. Something about the face. The way she tipped her head. I don't know. My brain went, I know her. I know that woman from somewhere. And I couldn't place it. It was driving me nuts. You know that feeling where a name is right there behind a wall and you can't get to it? That. So I'm standing there like a weirdo, just staring, trying to figure it out. Is she a friend's mom? Somebody from a job site? Somebody's aunt? And it's not coming. And I almost let it go. I almost just turned back to my buddies. But nosy. Born nosy. So I went over. Just walked over, told myself I'd say hi, and if it was nothing, it was nothing. And I get close, and she sees me coming, and she just lights up. Big smile, pulls me right into the little space she's dancing in like we're old friends. And she's saying something. I can barely hear it over the music. She's like, "You've got a nice face, you know that? Where'd you come from?" And she's flirting, full on, loose, happy, drunk flirting, dancing kind of close, touching my arm, laughing. And okay, I'll be honest. Part of me in that second is just going along with it, right? Pretty woman's paying attention to me, the music's good, I'm a couple drinks deep. But the other part of my brain is still slamming against that wall, going, who are you? Why do I know you? And then she said something. I don't even remember what, but she said it in this particular way, kind of crisp, kind of over-enunciated, even drunk, and it hit me all at once, cold, like ice water down the back of my shirt. Ms. Cormier. That's Ms. Cormier, my grade 10 English teacher. That's the woman who circled my spelling in red pen. That's We Can Do Better. And she is drunk on a dance floor in Toronto, flirting with me. And I did not know what to do with that at all. My whole body kind of locked up because there's no script for that, right? There's nothing in you that knows how to be a person in that exact moment. Part of me wanted to just bolt, just leave, pretend it never happened. But the nosy part, the part that runs my whole life, honestly, that part went, no way. No way are you walking away from this. So I leaned in and I said her name. I said, Ms. Cormier? You were my English teacher, grade 10, Westdale-ish, back in Hamilton. David Mercer. And I watched it land on her. Man, her whole face changed. That happy, floaty, drunk glow just drained right out of her, like somebody hit a switch. The smile stayed for a second, but it went all wrong, went stiff, and her eyes kind of came into focus in this awful way, like she was clawing her way back up out of the drunk just enough to be horrified. She froze completely, just stood there in the middle of all these dancing people, dead still, staring at me.
Okay, stop. Just picture that for a second. The teacher who terrified you at 15, the one who circled your spelling in red pen, And now she's frozen in front of you in a club, realizing exactly who you are. What do you even do in that moment? Because I have no idea. Keep watching.
And I felt terrible instantly. I was like, oh no, I broke something. I shouldn't have. I started to say something. I don't even know what, some dumb, hey, it's okay thing. And she grabbed my wrist. Not hard, just grabbed it and kind of tilted her head toward the side of the room, away from the speakers, and said, come here. Come here a sec. It's too loud. So I followed her. Off to the side, near where it opens up toward the bathrooms and the bar, where you can actually kind of hear each other. And I'm bracing for, I don't know what, for her to be angry, embarrassed, to tell me to forget I saw her, to leave. But that's not what happened. She leaned against the wall and she let out this big breath, and she looked at me and she just started talking. And she did not stop for a long time. And I've thought about this a lot since. Why she did that. Why she opened up like that to me, a kid she taught a decade ago, basically a stranger. And I think it's exactly because I was a stranger. You know, sometimes it's easier to crack yourself open in front of someone who doesn't really know you, someone who's not going to be at Thanksgiving. And she was drunk and she was clearly in a lot of pain. And I think I was just a safe wall to say it all at. She told me about her divorce. 12 years married. 12 years. And she's telling me about it in this, God, it was such a roller coaster to stand there for. One second she's laughing, this sharp, bitter laugh, telling me some detail like it's the funniest thing in the world. Next second, her voice cracks and her eyes go wet and she's right on the edge of crying. Then she's angry, actually angry, her voice getting loud, and then she catches herself and laughs again. All of it. Everything was in her at once. Like she'd been holding a door shut on all of it for months, and somebody finally just let go of the handle.
And this is the part that got me. 12 years of marriage, and the thing that broke her wasn't even the cheating. It was that she never saw it coming. Drop a comment. Have you ever found out you didn't really know someone at all? I want to hear it.
Her husband cheated on her. That was the core of it. 12 years, and he found somebody else. And she kept saying this one thing. She kept coming back to it. I didn't even see it. 12 years, and I didn't even see it coming. Like that was the part that broke her worse than the cheating itself. Not that he did it, that she missed it, that she thought she knew her whole life, and it turned out she didn't know it at all. And I stood there. I didn't know what to say. What do you say to that? I think I said, I'm sorry, like 4 times, and it sounded so useless every time. But she didn't really need me to say anything. She just needed me to be there while it came out of her. So that's what I did. I stood there and I listened to my grade 10 English teacher fall apart against a wall in a nightclub. And I kept thinking, this is the most human I've ever seen an adult be. Like the mask just gone. Here's the thing that gets me. This woman, in my head, was the most put together person alive. We can do better. Blazers, the whole thing. And here she was. And it turns out she was just a person. A person who got hurt real bad and was out on a Saturday trying to feel anything else. And I don't know why, but that wrecked me a little. Standing there, realizing that the grown-ups I looked up to as a kid were just scared people in nice clothes the whole time. And then, at some point, she kind of wiped her face and laughed, this shaky laugh. And she said something like, God, look at me. Okay, no more of this. Let's have a drink. A real one. You'll have a drink with me, right? And I should have. I mean, looking back, maybe the smart thing was to get her some water and put her in a cab. That's the thing you're supposed to do, right? That's what a good person does. But I was 26 and I was a few drinks in myself, and it felt rude. And honestly, I was still kind of caught up in the whole strangeness of it. So I said, sure, yeah, let's get a drink. So we went to the bar and we drank. And we drank a lot. That's the honest truth. More than I should have. Way more. And she was matching me or beating me. It stopped being a one drink to settle down thing real fast. The music, the noise, the whole night just kind of sped up and blurred at the edges. We were talking. I remember laughing about something. I remember she was doing an impression of somebody, I don't even know who, and I was laughing so hard I couldn't breathe. And that's kind of where it starts to go. Because the last thing I actually remember.
Now, before he tells you what happens next, be honest with yourself. Two people, both drinking way too much, both hurting. You already feel where this is going, don't you? Just watch how he handles it. It's not what you'd expect.
The last clear, solid thing is us walking out of the club. Together. Out into the cold, the noise of the street, the door guy nodding at us. I remember the cold hitting my face. I remember that. And then nothing. Like, nothing. There's just a gap. A black gap where the rest of the night should be. And the next thing in my memory, the very next thing, is waking up. And she's there, next to me. And it's morning, gray light coming in from somewhere, and my head is pounding, and I do not know where I am. And it takes me a few seconds to even understand what I'm looking at. And then it all just crashes down on me at once. Where I am, who that is, what this probably is. And I froze the exact same way she'd frozen on that dance floor. Just complete system shutdown. I didn't wake her. I didn't say anything. I got up as quiet as I could, and I got myself together and I left. I basically fled. My hands were shaking. I got outside and I had no idea what part of the city I was even in. I had to figure it out from the street signs, and I just started walking, trying to breathe. And here's the part I keep circling back to, the part that actually sits the worst. I don't remember. I genuinely don't. I've laid in bed 100 nights since then, trying to pull something, anything out of that black gap, and there's nothing there. Nothing. The night just stops at the cold air outside the club and picks back up in that gray morning. So I don't actually know what happened. I can guess. Obviously, I can guess. Anybody would guess the same thing. But I don't know. And that not knowing is its own particular kind of awful. Because there's a version of the night I can't defend and can't feel good about and can't even really remember being a part of. I was there and I wasn't there. Both. And I didn't know how to feel about it. That's the honest answer. I still kind of don't. I felt guilty. I felt weird. I felt this embarrassment so deep it was almost physical, like it lived in my stomach. Was I taken advantage of? Did I do something I should feel bad about? Was it just two wrecked adults who made a mess? I couldn't land anywhere. Every time I tried to decide how to feel about it, it slid out from under me. I didn't tell Reese or Tyler. I'd told them I bailed early, caught a cab home, and I just let them believe that. Some things you can't even hand to your best friends. They'd have made it a joke, and it wasn't a joke, and I couldn't have stood it. So I just carried it. Went back to work Monday, pulled wire, drank my coffee, And underneath all of it, this thing was just sitting there humming. This whole night, I couldn't see and couldn't fix and couldn't stop thinking about. And I figured that was it. That was the whole thing. Some door I'd never get to close. I figured I'd never hear from her, never see her again, and I'd just have to live with the gap. And then, about a week later, maybe 8 days, my phone buzzed. Number I didn't have saved. And I opened it, and I read it, and my stomach just dropped straight through the floor. It was her. And I don't know how, honestly. We never exchanged numbers that I remember, but she found it. And the message said, I've read it so many times I know it by heart. It said, your number wasn't that hard to find, so I'm writing to say, whatever happened that night, let it stay there. That's all. That's it. That's the whole message. Whatever happened that night, let it stay there. That's all. And I just sat there and stared at it. Because do you see it? She said, whatever happened. Whatever. Which means, I think it means she didn't fully know either. I think she was as much in the dark as me. Two people who drank themselves right out of their own night, both waking up on the far side of a black gap, both scared, both just trying to seal it shut so they could go on living. Or maybe she knew exactly what happened, and whatever was just her being kind, giving both of us an out, a clean door to close. I genuinely can't tell. And I never asked, because how could I? What was I going to text back? Hey, quick question, what did we do? No. So I typed a few things, deleted them all, and in the end, I just wrote back one word. I wrote, okay. Just okay. Let it stay there. Okay. And that was the last time I ever heard from Ms. Cormier. I never saw her again, never ran into her. I don't know where she is now, if the divorce got easier, if she's happy, if she ever thinks about that night, or if she sealed it up so tight it doesn't exist for her anymore. I hope she's okay. I really do. I hope she found her feet again. She was in so much pain that night. Whatever else that night was, it started with a woman in real pain. And I hope somewhere out there she got past it. And me, I stopped going out so much after that. Not like cold turkey, I'm not going to pretend I turned into a monk. But that thing I loved, that anything could happen tonight feeling, it went a little quiet in me. Because that night, anything did happen. And I don't even know what it was. And I think that's what finally taught me the thing I couldn't learn any other way. That anything could happen cuts both directions. It's not all magic and new faces. Sometimes the thing that happens is a hole in your own memory you carry around forever. I think about her more than I'd ever admit to anybody. Not in a longing way, nothing like that. More like she's this permanent question mark now. This woman who was a title and a last name to me when I was 15, who turned out to be the most fragile, most human, most real person I ever stood next to. And we shared a night that neither of us can actually remember, and then we both just agreed, over a text message, to pretend it went into a box and got buried. Let it stay there. Yeah, I did. I let it stay there. That's what she asked, and it was probably the kindest thing either of us could do for the other. But I'll tell you the truth, since I'm telling you everything, it never really stayed anywhere. It's not in a box. It's right here. It's been right here the whole time. Anyway, that's the story. That's the one I never tell. Thanks for Thanks for letting me get it out. Feels a little lighter saying it out loud. Just a little. Take care of yourself, all right? And if you're ever out on some Saturday night feeling like anything could happen, just be careful what door you walk through. That's all. That's the whole lesson I've got. Okay, that's it. That's me.
Let it stay there. That's how it ended. But here's my question for you. Was that a kindness? Or were they both just running from something they couldn't face? Tell me in the comments. And if this story pulled you in, hit that like. It genuinely helps the channel more than you know. I'll see you in the next one.